And we're ready. The playthrough is starting. I will be playing the Soviets, role-playing as Joseph Stalin. We've also got my brother Vagos playing as the West, so in the shoes of Winston Churchill and also in control of Charles de Gaulle. And we've got our friend Nick, who will be playing his beloved Germans. He's got a nice mustache, so he's fit for the role of Mr. Adolf and also in control of Benito Mussolini. And we've already gone through the setup. As you might recall, the latest rules indicate that the Western player receives one extra cadre after finishing his setup, which he may allocate in a space where he already has one. So he will add one more where he wishes. And we are in 1936, so the Germans will be the first to do their production, and then the turn order will go to the Western player. So it's 1936 and we are drawing our peace dividends during the New Year phase, and then we are moving to production. Good luck, everyone.
Good luck.
Good luck.
So this will be mine. We are on a due course to victory already.
Das ist mein.
Schön, sehr schön.
Null, wie immer.
And for the men of the West.
Okay, so let's move to production and let's let the German player do his 11 production.
So,
The tracks are pretty visible, so you may see for yourselves that he's got a population of 11. His industry is up to 12, so he will do 11 production. His resources are on 6, but this doesn't matter for now since we are both at peace.
so 1. Rebuild. Another point. Another rebuild. Another point. Another rebuild. Another point. Another rebuild.
Wow, Germans are building up.
Another one for another rebuild. Not this one. The other one.
Yeah, this one was stronger.
Another one would be this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5
Action
action
cards.
cards.
Okay,
That's all.
so usually as a German player I don't draw action cards, but if the German player does, typically the other players have to match the action cards drawn. Anyway, we shall see.
So it's my turn.
Sure,
Mhm.
go on.
For the first turn, I will upgrade.
Okay, one upgrade in Paris. The West has a total of 7 production because of his limited industry capacity.
And for the next 6, I will do this.
Okay,
6
so
factory cards.
investment cards. Okay, which means we've got to utilize our production of 9. And we've got to match the German influence, the German action cards, that's for sure. One will be here, a new cadre, so we've got 8 remaining. Second one will be here, so 7 remaining. 3, 4, and 5. So we've got 4 production remaining, and with that we shall draw 4 action cards, please. And we're done. So, ready for the government phase.
Yeah.
I would like players to use the current hand size indicators. I have drawn 4 cards, so I'm up to 10.
7. Shall I begin?
Sure, but your hand size is at 14 plus 5, so it's 19, I guess.
Yeah.
Should be 19. Or 19, if you
Yeah.
prefer.
Yeah. So we'll start very easy. I will use low countries.
Low countries, okay, so the Western players turn.
I will pass.
Yeah, I think I will pass as well. Started, so you may play a couple of cards.
Sweden. Very important for its resources.
I know, because Sweden has got double resources, so it's very cool for the Germans to build some nice tanks from IKEA by following the assembling instructions. And your hand size is down to 17. You may proceed since I'm at 10 still. And Wester, you are on 14, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I will add another influence.
In Sweden. Yeah, okay. IKEA is coming, guys. I will pass as will
I
West.
suppose.
Okay.
Spain, another important country,
Indeed.
with the help of the General Franco.
Sure. A close friend from the past. And your hand size should be down to 15, if I recall.
Okay. I will upgrade my economy.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 cards for a total factory value of 6 in order to upgrade his industry as the Western player. I will pass.
Another Spain, influence in Spain, 14.
This is too much.
Okay.
What does the Western player want to do?
I will place face down a technology card.
Cool.
Okay, so 2 cards down, you should be on 10. Okay. Well, I will use one card at this particular point, and this will be, I wonder which one. Yeah, it will be this one, Birds of a Feather, to place one influence marker in Spain as a USSR player.
Cool.
You may discard this.
Low countries,
Yeah, okay. Low countries.
second one.
Now, for the new players, I remind that low countries is very important because it is practically the gateway from Berlin to Paris in order to fulfill the Manstein plan and surprise the French.
I will pass.
I think I will follow up on that. I will pass as well.
Third one in low countries,
Okay. And your hand is at?
12.
Okay. So the German player is at an overhand of 5, I remind.
Okay. I will play a Spain card to counter 1.
Okay. So it's my turn. And to be honest, I would like one low countries to be removed.
Good.
And I'm down to 8. German's turn.
My turn as a reply would be another Spain.
Makes sense.
Okay, I will pass.
And I will pass as well.
I will add intimidation and influence in low countries.
Yeah, okay. So you're intimidating the Belgians, I suppose. And it's the West playing.
I will pass for the time being.
Okay, and your hand size is that?
I think it's
9.
10. Mine is 10 now.
Okay, so an overhand of 3. My overhand is at 2, but I wonder if we want to make something happen. Yeah, for the time being, I will pass as well.
I will use isolationism
To remove one influence.
from Spain.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. So Spain is isolated. That's a big deal. West.
I will pass.
Okay, this leaves me with no other choice but to use brothers in arms and add some influence in Spain.
I will use Romania, very important for its resources.
Yeah, sure, the double resources are always appreciated for the Germans.
I will play a USA card.
Makes much sense for a Western player. And your hand size is down to?
8.
Okay, so you're at hand limit. I'm at 7 and the German player is
8.
at... Okay, so one overhand for me and the Germans. I will pass for now.
I will remove friendly marker from Spain again.
And the card will be guarantee. Yeah, okay. So it's West.
I will pass.
Okay, so I have to use ties that bind this time to add an influence marker in Spain. And I'm down to my hand limit of 6. I remind the Western player that his hand limit is currently 7 because of the secret vault technology.
I will use USA.
Okay, so it cancels out the Western player's USA.
So I will play another USA.
Okay, that's to be expected. I will pass.
Currently I'm 6. I will pass as well.
Yes, I will pass.
Okay, so the government phase is over and it's time to adjust our influence. In Spain it will be one German influence because it removes mine and adds one. And in low countries the German player will turn it into a satellite, so he's placing 2 combat value units and he gains 1 population for that.
One population. Yes.
1 population for low countries and also 2 population for Spain.
Yes, I did it.
Okay, and also we've got 2 resources for Sweden and 1 population for Sweden and 1 population for Romania and 2 resources as well.
It will be second one. What is 2 with 1 pop?
And 2 and 1 pop
2
again.
and 1 pop.
So he's already got some 10 resources, so he's not afraid of starting a war sooner than later, and his population is up to the roof. I have not gained anything in terms of population and resources so far, and neither the Western player will gain some USA.
Cool.
So this means 3 population plus 4 resources. And we are ready to go with spring. The German player will decide whether to play a spring card or not.
I will commit a card.
What about the Western player?
I will as well.
And I will play a card as well, so we all reveal our cards.
I6.
Okay, I will play a full command of F, so I am the first one to play. I use a card of a different season, so it's emergency command because we are in a state of emergency, or maybe not, just because I want to move 2 units and that's all. I will bring this guy into Belarusia, and I will also move this one guy to Iris C. And this concludes my actions. Now it's turn of the German player with 6 commands.
6. What shall we do? Well, of course, I will declare the war to the English one.
Yeah, okay, I had to warn you. Our games are always going to be bloody and messy and chaotic from the get-go. You should be prepared for that. And it's spring 1936 and we are at war.
So, one movement will be from here.
Please flip your resource marker.
Yeah. The second will be as well from here.
Yeah. Now you would notice that the border between the Low Countries and Paris is a plains one, so up to 3 ground units may cross it in order to engage the French.
The third one would be as well here. 1, 2, 3, and here 3 more. The other would be 1. I will send a ship here just to raid. Another would be North Sea, and the last one would be here.
Okay, so these ones are both to North Sea, or this one is elsewhere?
This is inside for the
okay, for the Paris, okay. So it's not a raid since there are ground units, but okay. Let's reveal the French guys.
Also,
So
I have to reveal rocket artillery. I will have first fire. It's anyway.
No, it matters because I will remind, because the German player has a surprise, normally he would fire first with his infantry, but in this case the French infantry will fire first because of rocket artillery. So the sequence goes like this. The French fort fires, or retreats? No, it can't retreat. So please fire with using your 2 dice on ground.
On ground unit, yes.
And it's 1 hit.
1 hit.
So the Germans have an infantry strength of 5, which is turned down to 4 now, and it's the ship's turn to fire.
Just 1.
And the 1 is not even close, but now it's turn of the French infantry to attack.
Yes, of course, on ground unit.
And it's not a hit. And now the German has got 4 dice to roll on the ground. and it's 2 hits. So one goes to the fort and the other one probably to the infantry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And this one will stay here.
Yeah, okay, so he could optionally rebase his ship, but he prefers to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's the Western players' turn.
Okay, I have 4 commands.
Uh-huh.
The first one is, I think I have to
Reinforce Paris,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yes.
Now we'll make a brief pause to note some very good move from the German player, which is he blocked North Sea so that an infantry cannot land in low countries and cut off his supply route from Germany, which could be the case otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
No, to be honest. Okay, move on.
I have 2 moves here
Mm-hmm.
and another one also here.
Okay, I take back what I just said, and I will note that in this case the French player could have moved his ground unit if he has one from Marseille to Low Countries, and in this case he would probably be able to cut off supply if he killed the naval unit at the North Sea, which he most likely would be able to do with his 4 combat value fleet, and in this case this probably would mean certain death for the German army in Paris. Anyway, moving past this part, you are not obliged to declare this battle,
Yeah.
but I mean you have to show your units, of course, because it's a battle.
I
But,
think there is no reason not to attack.
yeah, okay, I just reminding the rules, but okay, you can trigger it and raid the Germans to death.
Fortress.
So your fortress is attacking first.
Okay,
One
of
die.
course I
Ground.
use it on ground units.
And it's a
No.
fail, and then it's the German players' fleet. No,
No,
it's it's the airplanes. 2 airplanes.
2 airplanes focusing ground
Ground.
units,
Yeah, okay.
hoping for a
For
like
someone.
one.
Yeah, no.
No, yeah,
And
no.
then it's the German fleet attacking.
Mm-hmm.
The German fleet attacking.
I will attack his fleet.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, makes much sense because the fleet will be hitting.
No.
And no. And now it's the English fleet. 4 dices of 1, I guess.
4 dices of. Yes, I could try to sink the ship, but I think it's
I think
urgent.
it will not make much difference. Yeah, it would be much better to kill
try
every last
the-
German
to,
that you can. Okay.
Let's see. Could I try and use the first die?
No, you cannot split your dice rolls. You have to target a
So
certain class. Okay, so
on ground units, hoping
yeah,
to get.
sorry, German infantry. And a
One
hit
hit.
is scored, which will go to the 2 combat value 1. And now it's the French infantry attacking.
Of course, on infantry.
And it's not a hit. And now the German player has got 3 dice rolls.
Ground units, of course.
You could split that, but okay.
1, 2.
So it's enough, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
enough to kill both the ground units. Now, what does this mean? It means that the French player loses Paris because all of his ANS units will have to move out. So France is cleaned up from French units. The fort and the Algerian unit die out. And the German player places his influence marker in Paris. Algeria revolts and turns into an armed neutral. The German player earns 3 population and 2 resources. Yeah, and he's up for a very good start. And the Western players' ANS units have to retreat or rebase.
And the ship can stay in the sea, right?
Yeah, you can retreat the ship into the sea.
Okay.
So this concludes the spring of 1936, and we're moving on to summer.
Summertime, sadness.
The German player will decide whether to commit a card.
Of course I will.
Yeah, okay.
I'm the German one.
You need to be active early, I can tell.
I will play this card.
Okay,
Yes,
please,
this card.
this one will be mine.
V8.
K9.
H8.
Okay, that's a bit unfortunate if you ask me, but okay, moving on to the Western player's turn.
I think there is only one option. I will try and attack this one.
Okay, so that's one command out of 8.
And 2 commands here, of course.
So 5 commands remaining.
Now this will be it.
Okay, so you have to trigger the battle in Paris and the
Which?
battle in North Sea, but if it is a raid, you have to trigger the raid first.
Okay, the raid, of course.
2 English airplanes from the RAF, the Royal Air Force, and they will be attacking on ground or
Ground units, of course.
Okay. So 2 dice rolls.
Nothing.
Okay, and now
My
it is-
plane.
yeah,
My ship.
yeah, let's see.
Nothing.
No, and it's 3 infantries.
Need just one. Nothing.
Okay, and the airplanes have to rebase, possibly in London, because I think there is no other legal place right now.
Okay, now I will trigger this one.
Yeah, we've got a 4 combat value fleet and a 2 value fleet.
Interesting. Retreat would be wise in that way. I will retreat by rebasing. It's okay. Yes.
Yeah, it is always okay to retreat by rebase, but not rebase by retreat.
Rebase. Or just retreat.
Wait, there's a problem. I think this is the space from where
okay,
the
I see, yes.
building is,
So
so you had to follow
here will
another
be.
route.
Yeah.
Okay, and this concludes the Western player's actions, and we are moving on to mine, so this card is discarded. And I've got 9 commands, I'm not
Your ship
entirely...
will stay here.
Yes.
Yeah, it can stay here or rebase. So 9 commands for the Soviet player trying to bring the ways of communism into the world. One will definitely be this one. Now maybe the viewers can see from their camera which unit I have moved and draw their own conclusions. And we've also got to react and adapt to the current state of affairs. And this will definitely mean violation of Poland. So, before moving any of my units further, I would like you to draw 3 cards each because of the master value of Warsaw as Poland's capital. And also I will be placing some forts, a 3 combat value one in Warsaw, a double one in Lwów, and one in Vilnius. So, my second command will be this one, and the third and fourth will be these ones. The border limit is again plains, so 3 ground units may cross it. And we've got, 5 more commands, which could possibly be. One would be here. The other one would be this one. One would be here. And the last one would be this one. Sorry, I moved it just now. Scratch that. And okay, that's it. I'm done.
There is a battle here.
Yeah, I've got to reveal my 6 tank units, and 1 fort will be attacking on ground, and it's not a hit. So I've got 6 chances to kill the fort with dice rolls of 1 or 2. I've got 3 hits or 4 hits,
4 hits.
rather. Okay, I guess I'm not gonna hit anything for the rest of the game. So this one goes away, and I gain control of pretty much nothing. No population, no resources. And this concludes my turn, and moving on to the Germans.
V8. My first would be, just for supplying reasons, 1.
Okay.
The second would be I will attack here.
Riga.
Regan, another one here.
Okay, so first of all, we place one combat value fort, and we got to draw one card each because of the violation of the Baltic states.
Another would be 1, 2, 3 because it's a tank.
Okay, you will sow it anyway, but it cannot overrun the fort.
Yes, it would be 1.
This is a sea invasion anyway. Thanks for letting me know that it is a tank.
Convoy, yes, it would be a convoy. Another one would be here.
Yeah, wise move.
Another would be 1, 2. And the last one would be to be or not to be, and would be here. This one, strategical move. 1, 2, 3.
It started from Milan, so yeah, it can reach Paris, of course.
That's all. We have just a battle here.
Okay, so you're revealing 4 infantries and one guy is invaded, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does not participate.
It does participate, so you can absorb damage. Okay. So you have to reveal it, and so the fort will attack you. It's a 1 combat value, and it's a hit on the tank, I guess. It's invading one. And now 4 hits from the German infantrymen.
1 hit.
And it's 1 hit,
enough.
and that's very
sufficient.
enough.
Yes.
And you can place your conqueror's marker here. No population or resources adjusted, and okay, some small notes on this move. First of all, it poses a threat directly to Leningrad and Moscow, which might very well end the game outright if he controls Leningrad. But other than that, I can notice a very wise move of protecting his flanks by covering Baltic Sea and the Gulf of Bothnia. Otherwise, I could cut off his supply through these sea areas. Now it's summer end, right?
We'll
Should we adjust population for me?
Yeah, you should remove 2 resources and 3 population because of France. And we are in for some blockade check. So the resources we have to track are mainly these ones in India and the Middle East. And the Western player has to trace a trade route. And as far as I can tell, this one could be a land segment passing through neutrals, but it would stop right here because it can cross neither Poland nor Germany. So this is not a valid trade route. And a sea segment could be this one, however. So it can cross the straits and reach London. So by combining this land segment until Croatia and this sea segment till London, all these resources and population are not blockaded. So there is no blockade effect actually. So moving on to the fall season. The German player.
I will commit a card.
And he will obviously commit a card. Now it's the Western player's turn.
I will go on my satanic plan.
Yeah, the evil plan of expanding your German agenda. Western player to decide, and then it is us.
I will add 1.
Yeah, there is a bunch of things I am afraid of right now, but I will commit this one card.
P6.
A6 for me.
J7.
Yeah, okay.
I needed that card.
This A6, yeah, would be nice, nice one to close the game out. However, now it is our turn, and we've got to carefully consider our possibly even last move of this game if we messed it up that hard. Yeah, there are many things that worry me right now, and I definitely do not want to give the game to the Germans outright. So I have 6 commands, and I have to think how to use all these 6 ones right now. So this guy from Murmansk will follow up on the right path, which is to move to Irish Sea. And then this one will move to North Atlantic. So it's 2 commands. Third one will be this one to Murmansk. Fourth one will be this one. So fifth and sixth one would be these 2 back to Belarusia. And this concludes my commands. Now it's the Western player.
I think I should attack with the ship.
Okay, so the Western player is using his strong 4 combat value fleet to constantly keep raiding and harassing the Germans in Paris. Makes sense.
Because there is no other options.
Yeah, he's almost running out of blocks anyway.
Yes. So let's do this.
You're playing first.
Airplanes, targeting ground units, of course.
Cool. The Italian
One hit.
So no Italians in Paris, they only speak German there.
My fleet, your fleet.
Yes.
Nothing.
And now the English fleet.
The English fleet. Now there is a thing to think about.
Yeah, you could try and sink the German fleet once and for all.
Yes,
but
it would
to
be
be honest,
secure.
yeah, you might want to try your luck and hit multiple German infantries with multiple one-day rolls.
They are both nice choices. What are you afraid of the most?
Your fleet.
I will try to hit the ground units.
Yeah, okay. Okay, and it's 2 hits already, and we are short
Another
one
one.
die.
I think
And
it
it's
was a
2
good
hits.
choice.
Yeah, it paid off big time.
And
So
now
you have now.
I just want to your fleet, but nothing.
So you've got to rebase your or retreat your airplanes and fleet.
and the ship will. It doesn't make a true difference from here to here if Germany has Paris.
To be honest, yeah, if Paris is controlled, he can use either sea to jump onto London. But no, there is actually a difference. If you control North Sea, he can't dive from Ruhr. So North Sea is better because he can't dive from Ruhr.
Mm-hmm. So I can protect myself from Paris, but I should protect myself from Ruhr, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So German player on the move.
6. I think I would need to reinforce with another Italian with strategical move from Milan.
Buongiorno, Paris.
The other way would be, let's see if we have enough. And of course, I will declare the war to my friend,
Much appreciated.
to Joseph Stalin.
Okay.
So would be
So the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact did not last for a very long time in this alternative historic universe.
2. One, 2 convoy.
So all these are in Leningrad, right?
Yes, 2 would be from the land.
Okay.
Another raid. The other would be convoy. 4. Another would be another raid from here.
We've got 2 ground units which crossed the forest border, one that sea invaded, and 2 that are fleets. Okay.
3 power total, right?
And the last would be 1, 2, and another raid from this one.
Yeah, it's not exactly a raid because they've got ground support, but okay, they are supporting the ground invasion. So, to be honest,
the last one, I don't afraid of.
Okay, so this is your 6 commands, and we are revealing our fort, 1 infantry and 1 aeroplane. And first of all, my double fort will hit the ground units. And we've got 1 hit, just 1, which should be allocated here.
Indeed.
And then it's my aeroplane hitting the ground units as well. And it will fail. And now it is your fleet targeting, I guess, ground units.
Ground units, of course.
Okay, so 5 dice.
Let's see
you
from
will
this
use.
one, 3 from this one. No 1.
And 2 for the other ship. Chances are it will be rolled now, but no. And now my infantry will target
It's
your...
surprise attack. So
Also,
my
yeah,
first.
you are attacking first with 3 infantry. And it's 1 hit which will be allocated to the fort.
Mhm.
And now I will be attacking with my infantry. And it's a hit.
The
So
users have got lucky, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, a bit on the lucky side of things. Now we will live to fight another day, that's for sure. But first of all,
They will
I
stay.
will be. I was a bit unlucky to play as the first one, maybe because I might like to be able to outsupply him right now, but that's not possible because the fall has just ended. And so all of them will be staying in Leningrad. It will be a tough battle, like the historical one. And okay, this concludes our route. There is no supply problems as far as I can tell. All of these units can trace a supply route to Berlin. And we can move to the winter phase, in which I could play a card, and possibly I will play a card to move some units within Russia. Let's see which one is the most useless card we are currently possessing.
There was a hot start, I would
This
say.
was a very fired up start, and the factors that contributed to this were first of all the Low Countries turning into a satellite, and as well as it was a risky move attacking Paris, and to be honest, in an advanced level this could have resulted in utter destruction for the Germans if you cut off their supply from Low Countries and kill their fleet in North Sea. Anyway, moving on, and I will play this one card for winter. It's an exclusive privilege of the Russians to play during winter, and I will use my 7 commands to move not even close to 7 units. But yeah, 1 unit will disengage, 2 will engage, and yeah, I will show them, although I'm not sure I will trigger the battle. And to be honest, this is a pretty good battle to trigger, so I will bring 1 more guy here, and maybe we can score some hits onto the SS divisions. But the way things are going, I might have to cover my flanks from Murmansk. So I will bring 1 guy here. Surprise, it was not a fort. I will bring him in Murmansk. And yeah, I think this covers my flanks sufficiently for now, and it's time for our T-90 tanks to score some hits. But first of all, the fort will attack some fleets. And it's not a hit. So my aeroplane is hitting, and it will target ground. Sorry about that. No hit on the ground, and now it's 5 fleets attacking
Okay, my first
in order.
My first 4 to ground units.
Okay. And we've got 1 hit, which will be allocated to this tank.
This one
What?
to the ground units, of
Okay,
course.
okay.
Okay, no matter, no.
Okay, and now it is my 5 tanks. I wish the same luck I had in Vilna right now. And it's 2 hits, and the sole German infantry will counterattack. No. So I might possibly rebase my aeroplane. The reason would be to build it further during the next production. And I will be doing that. I will move it to Belarusia. And you cannot rebase your own stuff, so your stuff remains open. Mine is flipped because I'm the owner of Leningrad for a little while more. And after that, this historical year of 1936 is coming to a conclusion.
A bloody one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we are moving to 1937. I warned you this might be a really short game, but it doesn't matter.